Whoa. All right, trying to see if the audio is working. Let me see. Let me know if you guys can hear the audio. I think it's working. Is it? Looks like it's working. Maybe. Yeah. Okay. All right. What is up, guys? Welcome back to another video. My name is Nash, and well, another stream. And it's been a while since I had a video up on this channel, but we're gonna be going through some comments that I never responded to on YouTube. But I wanted to do a stream that can be saved, so the people that left those comments that had questions on them, they can go back and refer to those comments, to the video, so they can get their questions answered. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna be doing today. I have about, I think it's like 4 or 5 different questions, which I wanted to, do in video format. But if you happen to pop in and you have any questions, drop them in the chat, and I'll be sure to answer those at the end. So, one of the first questions I got, I know one of the last videos I have is, talks about how to build a resume. And one of the things that I mentioned was it needs to be 1 page long. If you are in high school, college, it needs to be 1 page long. Even if you graduate and it is your first job, the resume needs to be 1 page long. Maybe if you're in your second job, still 1 page long. But if you've had, a lot of full-time jobs outside of college, then yes, it could be more than what is it? More than 2 pages. But if it's 1 page, it needs to be 1 page. That's the whole point. Now, the person that left this comment, they did describe that it's only 2 pages because they did a lot of certifications, which, took up some space. Now it is on 2 pages. So when you're listing your certifications on your resume, they should not take that much space, right? Let's say you have a Microsoft Excel certification. You shouldn't have to describe what it is, because I feel like if you try to describe what it is, then you're gonna end up using more space. So just put, I have a certification in Microsoft Excel. Then you're good to go. So if you have like 5 of them, it should only take like 5 lines, right? And I'm assuming that your resume is not double spaced. It should not even be double spaced. If it's double spaced, then you're wasting a lot of space. But essentially, it should be 1 page. But if it's not 1 page because you have a lot of what do you call it? You have a lot of certifications listed on there. Just make sure that you're not putting a description of what they are, because they're pretty self-explanatory. If it's a Microsoft Excel Express certification, then it explains itself. If it's financial analysis certification, then it explains itself, right? You don't need to describe what it is. Um, so that was the first question. Now the second one was, how do you make your LinkedIn? It was basically asking me to how someone can make their LinkedIn look a lot better. So, I mean, I think LinkedIn does a good job when it comes to, guiding you on how to create a good page, right? So, if you've ever used LinkedIn, you know that you get like a little score that says, put in a description, put in your name, put a picture, put a resume or something like that. So I think it already does a good job, but if I'm gonna add anything to it, is make sure that everything is filled out. Make sure that you have, let me pull out my LinkedIn here so I can make sure that I'm referencing the correct things. You guys are not gonna be able to see this on the screen, but you want to make sure that you have, obviously, a profile picture, which needs to be a professional headshot, right? These are really easy to get. Just find someone to take that picture, or you can take it with your phone. Make sure that you don't have a distracting background, right? You don't want to be in the city where you can see a bunch of cars in the back, a bunch of buildings. Just make sure that the background, there isn't too much going on, and also you can put a little banner picture as well, right? So for those, a lot of people like to customize those, put like, make sure it's something professional. For mine, I have a picture of the city. I live in San Antonio, so it's a picture of the city of San Antonio, which is fine. It's nothing, it's not gonna count against you, right? and make sure that you have your name, obviously your real name, because if somebody's gonna Google you, you want to make sure that your LinkedIn is popping up. That's if you're networking and things like that, right? If they look you up on LinkedIn, you want to make sure that the name that you use is the name that's on LinkedIn. You also want to add contact information on your LinkedIn as well, because a lot of recruiters actually, they look through LinkedIn, right? It was like, oh, this person, based on what they have on their page, let me contact them. So if you leave your email or your phone number, they're gonna be able to reach out to you. All right, so after that, you want to make sure that you add, your experience, right, which is essentially the jobs that you've worked part time, full time. You can really add anything on here. That's why you have your resume and your LinkedIn. Your resume is only one page because most of that information is on your LinkedIn, right? So if you are applying to a financial analyst position, right, on your resume, let's say you've worked a bunch of jobs as, maybe a financial assistant, then you've worked in McDonald's, you've worked at the mall, you've worked at all these places, right? But when you put your resume together, you want to make sure that you only add the things that are relevant to the position that you're applying to. So if you're applying to be a financial analyst, it makes sense to add the financial assistant position on the resume and leave, the maybe the McDonald's job outside, out of the resume, because that's really not going to help you. And if your resume is 2 pages, you might want to cut some of those things down, right? Some of the things that aren't relevant to the job that you're applying to. But these are the things that you're gonna put on your LinkedIn, because there's no limit as to how much you put on your LinkedIn. So whenever someone is looking at your resume, they see that you have these things and they're interested. You know what they're gonna do? They're gonna look you up on LinkedIn. And I know that I also added that you're supposed to add a link to your LinkedIn on top of your resume. If you watch that video, you see that. So that's how they can easily find you, right? So they'll go to your LinkedIn, and that's where they get the full experience, right? These are the jobs you've done. And if you're in college, there's an option to add a bunch of courses that you've taken. So if you are gonna work as a financial analyst and you're looking to, and you don't have any work experience, what you can do is you can add the courses that you take in college. You can add, I took intro to investments. I took a banking class. I took introduction to corporate finance. I took introduction to accounting. You can add those courses, which are going to help you. Sometimes they count as experience, especially if you're applying for internships. They look at things like that. So you want to make sure that everything is added. If you volunteer, there's a section for that. You also want to make sure that you add your education. There's a section for that as well. And you also have, I think those are pretty much, and if you're in any organizations as well, there's a place for that. If you have any certifications, there's a place for that. So just like I said when I was answering the first question, that if you have a bunch of certifications, there's no need to describe what they are on the resume. Just list out what they are. When you go on LinkedIn, there's actually you can actually list out the description of what the certification is. So that's why it's important to have to coordinate between your LinkedIn and your resume, right? And when you send in your resume, it's supposed to have relevant information pertaining to the job that you're applying. And it's supposed to have your LinkedIn link on the top, just like I showed you in the last video I posted. And once you do that, when someone looks at your resume, they want to know more, they go to your LinkedIn, and now you have everything. You have way more stuff, which could probably be like 20 pages if you're gonna put this on the resume. So that's how you make a good LinkedIn. You want to make sure that it is everything. Everything is on there. Everything is on there. And it also helps you kind of like reconstruct your resume sometimes. So sometimes they say, I want to work in finance. I'm applying to be a financial analyst. I only pick the jobs that I've done that are related to that, that will help me, that are gonna help me get that job. So let's say I want to work as an accountant now. Now I can just go back to my LinkedIn and look at, you know, when's the last time I worked as an accountant? Oh, I actually had an internship back in 2017. So this is kind of like this could be a reference to, when you have to reconstruct your resume, you could go back to your LinkedIn, since it has all the information on there, and that can guide you into reconstructing your resume. Now, I'm gonna go to another one here. Um, we're gonna go to, let's see. Yeah, someone pointed out, the difference between the willingness to learn versus grades. So I know, I think it was during one of my videos, I did say that your grades do not really matter. I mean, they're important, they'll open up doors for you, obviously, if you have good grades. But at the end of the day, it's gonna be your willingness to learn, right? So once you graduate, you're not gonna be graded on, on whether you can, you are passing or anything like that. It's gonna be based on your willingness to learn, right? So when you go work at a new job, it's gonna be like you're a freshman again, right? You're new, you're the new hire. So your willingness to learn will take you far because this is gonna allow you to be open to, other people trying to teach you things, and as long as you're willing, right? I know I've met people that are not willing to learn because they think that they are smart. So whenever someone tries to teach them something, like I know how to do this, and then they go do it, they mess it up, right? Because they weren't willing to learn. So willingness to learn, that's why I say it's the most important things. Yes, grades are great, but your willingness to learn is gonna be, one of the biggest things that would take you far in whatever job that you do. And also at the same time, one thing I've noticed is a lot of people that have like 4.0 GPAs, once they go out there, they try to make it translate. They try to translate that into like the real work. When you go to the real work, is your GPA is zero. You don't know anything. Even if you think you know something, there are ways to do things, different from what you were taught in school. In school, you were taught this is how it's supposed to be done, but when you go out there, we're not memorizing formulas. We are using Google to look for things, right? We are, yeah, that's what we're doing. So if you have, the willingness to learn is gonna be what's gonna really help you out. Let's see here. The last one was this was on one of my old videos. Someone was saying that, it was basically me complaining that there is a lot of writing classes in college, which, I didn't like because it seemed like a waste of time. I think I had to take like three writing classes freshman year, which I thought were pointless. It's like writing one, writing two, and then, and you're doing the same thing for 2 semesters in two different classes, which are writing. But they bring up a good point that says that, those writing classes, you got to give them their credit because they do help you with a lot of things that you might not even realize. And I was thinking about this and I realized that, I have good emails, right? And I've read some emails that some people send me, and I'm like, do you know how to write a professional email? And I realized that I can, credit this to the writing classes that I took in college and high school as well. So, yeah, so definitely I'll give them credit on that. They seem like they might be a waste of time, but I think writing is a great skill to have because sometimes if you're in a professional environment and you are sending emails, people are going to judge you based on your email because you're sending emails to people that have never met you. Think about sending emails to clients. Think about if you have to, not, it doesn't even have to be a professional environment like work. Imagine you trying to reach out to someone who is at a company that you're trying to get an internship to, right? The first thing they're going to see is going to be your email, right? And they're going to judge you based on the email that you send. So writing is really important and understanding how to write a professional email or even just, basic grammar. Like that's going to come with a writing class. So I do give credit to writing classes. I never thought about it that way, but I sat down and thought about it. I was like, these writing classes definitely helped me get to a point where I can write good emails as well as good reports. If you ever have to, if you work as a financial analyst, if you work with a lot of data, it doesn't mean that everyone is going to be able to understand, to look at a Microsoft Excel, filled with data and be able to understand what's going on. Look at a pivot table and be able to understand what's going on. Sometimes you have to write a report explaining what the data is, right? Because not a lot of people are going to be able to do that. So being able to communicate exactly what you're trying, what the data is saying, or describe the data to someone who does not understand that, I mean, that's gonna help you. It'll take you far. It'll take you from the guy that's behind the computer crunching numbers to the guy that's able to crunch the numbers and able to translate that into what people can understand. And most of the time, it's through writing, right? You do a report. Um, yeah, so definitely writing classes do help. Let's see here. Now I have one more last question. It's gonna be the last one. This was someone was asking if they should be getting a financial analyst bachelor's degree. And my answer is no, do not. This, like, if you're gonna get a degree that's focused in finance, like financial analyst, I saw something like financial services. I saw something like what is it? What is it? Let me pull it up here. Something like a degree in portfolio management. Someone asked about a degree in what was it again? In sales, in research or financial research. All of those degrees are too focused on one thing. If you wanna, let me give you a bigger picture of how what the financial services industries look like, right? So there's four different categories here, like the inside circle, right? So let's say in the middle it's finance, right? You have the banks, right? So when it comes to the banks, like banking, right? Think about the banks, right? You're talking about when it comes to the banks, you can break that down to investment banking, right? Which is everyone is familiar with that. You also have research. There's people that do research, right? When it comes to banking, you have trading, which is what a lot of people want to do. You have sales. A lot of people want to do sales as well. You also have commercial banking, right? So that's one side of finance. Now you can even break those things down if you go into investment banking, look at the buy side, the sell side. So I'm not gonna go that deep into this. I'm just gonna leave it at that. So that's the banking side. You also have institutions, right? So this includes things like private equity, right? If you want to go work for an institution like BlackRock, right? You have private equity. You also have portfolio management. If you want to manage portfolios, you also have research as well. You're gonna note that research is everywhere. So, so those are things that are related to institutional finance. You also have corporate finance, right, which is most people's favorite because probably, I wouldn't say the easiest, probably the most where you can shift from place to place. You have corporate development that falls under corporate finance. You have investor relations. I've worked in something like that. You have treasury. You also have business intelligence, where you have those business analysts and things like that. You also have what is it? I forget. There's a bunch more things in there, but that's kind of like the gist of it, right? You also have public accounting. Guess what? If you have a finance degree, you can work in accounting. It's easy. You can do consulting. You can do something like due diligence. You can do transaction advisory. You can do valuations as well. You use a lot of accounting, those things. So this is just to give you, if I was gonna break out into more specific things, it just the list keeps getting bigger and bigger. So now, when you major in something like financial analysis or as a financial analyst bachelor's degree, you just limit yourself to all these things, right? What if you get the degree and you realize that you don't like doing financial analysis at all? You want to work as a financial advisor, right? Where you actually interact with people. You're not doing analysis on Excel or whatever. Or you want to do consulting, or you want to do valuations, or you want to do business intelligence, or you want to do something in sales, right? Now you've limited yourself. Now, but when you get a degree in finance, which is, and most schools should do this, you learn a little bit of everything. I know when I was in college, I learned a little bit of investing, a little bit of portfolio management, research, corporate finance, valuations, a little bit of kind of like everything under the umbrella of finance. Now, when I go out there and graduate, I say I want to work in focus in insurance finance, right? That's what I want to do. And I'm like, I don't like this. Now I can switch to portfolio management because my degree is in finance and it covers all these things. But when you get a degree in financial analysis, you kind of like limit yourself. I'm not saying that it's impossible for you to shift to something else, but it's going to be a lot harder, right? Compared to someone who has a finance degree that encompasses all those things. Um, yeah, but definitely I would recommend, if you're gonna get a financial analyst degree, a portfolio management degree, just get a finance degree. And you can do a master's where you focus on whatever you like. And sometimes you don't even know what you like. You might think you like financial analysis, but then once you actually do the work, you're like, I hate this. Now, that's when you realize that you wasted your time, right? Because so when you do your bachelor's degree, just get into finance, and after that, don't go do your master's right away. Go to the workforce, go get a couple jobs, figure out what you like. Finance is a huge industry. Try to work in different jobs, different, just do different things. Let's say you figure out you like portfolio management, right? You like working for an institution that does portfolio management. Now you can go back to get your master's and focus on finance in portfolio management, right? So that's where you really get to focus. And, if you've been working at a company, maybe you worked there for 2 years, you realize that I really, really love doing this. I can see myself doing this for a while. Now, when you go back to school to get a master's that focuses on portfolio management, then you're probably going to be promoted, right? Because you bring value back to the company that you're working at. All right, so I'm gonna answer a couple of questions in here. Those are the only questions that I had, unless you guys have additional questions. I'm also gonna save this as well on the channel, so it's gonna be uploaded. And yeah, all right. So one is, what are some of my hobbies? I don't really. I work a lot, but I do like to go fishing. I like to hike. Just the basic stuff, nothing too complicated. And I like filming these videos. Um, but I do work a lot, so I don't really have a lot of time for hobbies. But I do enjoy going fishing. I want to get into hunting as well. But yeah, fishing is fun. And I like hiking because it's good for you. It's like doing cardio. All right, so he said there was an ad. Is this stream good? I don't know. Maybe it's good, maybe it's bad. I don't know. And also, last one here. Thanks for your interview questions. Video watched over a year ago and will soon be promoted to be senior financial analyst. That is great. That's what I like to hear. Like seeing people get promoted to just climbing the corporate ladder. That's what they call it. And some of those things that I post in my videos, those are things that are based on my life experiences, right? As I move up the corporate ladder as well, or as I get raises and things like that. Those are things that kind of like motivate me to make a video. That's why there aren't really as many videos on this channel, because I'm kind of like waiting for something to happen, or I'm waiting to fully experience something like, hey, I'm gonna aim for a raise or something like that, and then maybe I get it and I make a video how to get a raise, right? And I can look at some of my videos here. These videos are based on, they're like real time what's happening, with what I'm doing. So some of the videos that I have, like what is it? Let's see here. Like why you can't find a job after you graduate from college. These are based on some of my friends, right? Some of the people that I know. How to get internships with a bad GPA. My GPA was at 2.6, and I had over 5 different internships. Why you should not graduate college early. I had the option to do so. I know some people that did. And by the time I graduated, they were still looking for jobs. And you also have things I regret about going to college, based on real time. So yeah, so it's really nice to hear that someone benefits from these. But that is pretty much it, honestly, for this stream. I might do this again tomorrow, or what's tomorrow, Friday? Maybe. Or I might do this again during the weekend. But I'm gonna save this stream on the channel so people can refer back to it. Probably change the title. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, guys. I'll see you on the next one. Or there might be a video on Monday or this weekend. I don't know, depending on how I feel. But I'll see you guys on the next next video or stream. Thank you so much for watching.